Hello guys, and we're on Catacombs, which is a level I really like. It's probably my favourite level in Chapter 1, for reasons. For starters, I really like the music in this level. Particularly the battle music, and you're about to see why. But yes, apologies for the abrupt ending of the last video. It is difficult to keep up doing post-commentary, and this is pretty much my first time doing a Let's Play, so without doing it live, obviously. Anyways, yeah. Here are the return of the zombie soldiers, but this time they have maces. That's literally the only difference. They are the same things as they used to be, just with maces instead of swords. So, really there's no difference, really. Just a different aesthetic, I guess. It's nice that they did add a different aesthetic, though. It is pretty cool. But yes, we're in the second room now. And yeah, I do like the music in this level a lot. Particularly the guitar riffs it has. This game is defined by its metal music and just killing hordes of enemies. That's what it is. Nearly got hit there, and yeah, that is a zombie warlord. Now the zombie warlord is different in this version because these zombie warriors are slightly different from the ones in the first level, in the sense that they can be resurrected by the zombie warlords. Which, maybe they did it in the first level, I don't know, but I never really got to see them do it in the first level, but they definitely do it in this level. So you want to take out the zombie warlords first, because they can be pretty deadly. And here I'm trying to set up another combo, and with Painkiller. And yeah, as you can see, the movement is still the same, but ultimately, like, it's pretty straightforward at the start, especially after coming from Atrium Complex where there's a lot of action. It gets you back into... It's just like the first level, but slightly different, in the sense that there will be a lot more hazards. This level is actually a lot harder than the first and second level, and even I have some trouble with it. Like, particularly later on. But yeah, it's straightforward at the beginning. It's easing you back into it. Now, in here, I like to use the Painkiller laser here, and you're going to see why. These guys are a bit like those TNT holding guys from Shadow Warrior, and they are actually vamps, if I recall, but they just hold barrels that explode when they get close to you. And these guys are also vamps. They throw knives. This is probably the first throwing weapon that's considerably deadly, because when they throw it, they don't die. It's not like the evil monks from Atrium Complex where they will die after throwing knives. These guys won't, so you have to be a bit more careful with them. Yeah, you get to watch me fail with the Stakegun again. I'm using that as cover, even though you're not supposed to cover in this game. I just think that's the easiest way to do it, because using the Stakegun is the only way of hitting these guys, and yeah, it can be difficult. You can use the Painkiller as well if you have to, but the Stakegun is the most efficient way, and I want to make sure I can hit them. Basically, it's just me being a noob, pretty much. That's what it's all about. Anyways, there's this box here. There's ammo all around here that's easily missed. And there's this little bridge. There's a little glitch that where this bridge doesn't show, and I think it's mainly because of the physics engine. Like, sometimes that can be a thing, but it's like the Havoc physics are all like on the bridge and that lot. Now this is a secret area, and it's going to take a while for the enemies to spawn, but you need to go into this area to get the tarot card. But yeah, like I said about the bridge, like, the bridge uses Havoc physics, and I think that causes a bug where it doesn't show up at some point. But it is cool that they added that little bridge. There's a lot of little attention to detail in some of the levels where they add little things that they put a lot of work into. Now, more of these guys, and yeah, you basically just want to circle them, but try and get in close because you want to deal the most damage, and obviously I fail at doing that there, but... And here are more vamps, but these ones, and I'm not sure if they actually show it. Yeah, I just killed that guy, but yes, these guys are the ones that were holding the barrels. And they're basically, I don't know what they're called, I think they're called Giant Vamps. They're basically the same things. or they're called Yetis. That's what I think they're called. It sounds weird, but I'm not exactly sure what they are, but they are basically evolved forms of the Vamps. And yes, we will be encountering another one of those later down the line, like here. Now, I think that those are Vamps. They might actually be zombie warriors, I'm not sure, but I never let them get close enough so that to be able to tell. But I think they're Vamps. Yeah, I can see those big. They have big, thick legs. The only enemies that so far that have big, thick legs are the giant zombie mini boss and the Yetis or Giant Vamps. I just call them Giant Vamps. How about that? That's probably the best thing, even though Yeti is probably their official name, according to my sources, which might not even be legitimate, but I'm just going to consider them legitimate, since someone else called them legitimate, so I'll just go over what they said. Now, there might be a secret here, I wouldn't know, I'm not really going to be bothered to find out, but I think it might be in one of those coffins, but I can't remember clearly enough, to be honest. But yeah, this area can be very tricky. Now, there is an easy way to get through this area with minimal casualties, or at least like minimal damage taken to you, and it's basically to stay down here and just shoot the fuck out of everything that comes near you, as it does get pretty chaotic around here. Yeah, those guys can blow up. You can use them to blow up other enemies as well, which is pretty nice. Yeah, you have zombie warlords, which is some of the most deadliest enemies in the game, even though they're just melee enemies. Like, they can be really deadly if you're not ready for them. Now, down here, you might think it's just a hole, but here is our first super health that I can find. I know there's another one in Cemetery, and I looked up on how to get that, and holy crap, no wonder I missed it. You have to put a barrel next to the wall and blow it up. I don't like getting spoiled on secrets, but for that one I couldn't help but get spoiled. So yeah, I looked it up on the guide. But yeah, the next area, well, the next area really does get a lot more difficult than this, but yeah, we want to stay down here more because more enemies are going to spawn from there. And another thing I noticed is, well, actually I think I might have passed that bit. Yeah, I did. Like, the enemy that spawned there, that's why I went back down there. Yeah, the Stakegun's pretty effective on zombie warlords. Unlike the Painkiller and the shotgun, the Stakegun can kill them in one shot, so you want to really use the Stakegun against them. Even though they have shields, the Stakegun is the most effective weapon to use against them. They are pretty vulnerable to it, if you can line it up. Whereas the shotgun is not the best option of dealing with them, but you'll probably have to use it early on. But now that we have a Stakegun, and yes, it's not a secret this time, you get it straight away, just before you fight against the Vamps that are throwing knives at you, that you can pick one up, as you saw. And you'll probably use it a lot in this level, you'll need to. And there'll be other levels where you'll be using it quite a lot as well, particularly in Chapter 2. Now this area, it might not seem like much at first, but there is a small area down here which is optional, and you'll probably want to do it if you want to get a tarot card, which I'm going to show it off anyways, for multiple reasons. One, it gives you an armor, which I'm going to need soon, believe me, I am, and it gives you some ammunition, which is always nice. And this is the next room. Like, you're probably thinking, whoa, another checkpoint, why? If you didn't take the optional room, but yes, I'm just going to collect some cash, why not? There's some ammo here, and basically getting myself ready for the next area, which is probably, this is where the game really starts getting tough, in this next area, and you are really going to have a difficult time if you're new to the game with this area. This is probably the first area that will give you a real challenge. Like, it is. Like, whereas Cemetery gives you a moderate challenge, like, this is the first real challenge. There are tons of enemies down here, and there's tons of enemies coming, believe me. And as you'll notice, like, the arena isn't really the best to be fighting in. Like, down here, you either go up the top and get hit by the enemies sooner, or you go down here and have more areas to explore and have to maneuver around the coffins, which can be difficult when you're bunny hopping around. So you have to pick or choose. I picked the lower section at first, but yeah, like, this is where I'm going to be taking a bit of damage here, because, like, it's very hard not to. So I'm going to be using the combination of the Stakegun and the shotgun here, and this is where you'll start wanting to swap weapons a lot. You won't want to stick with one weapon for this. You want to switch up and use different types of weapons so that you can survive, particularly if you're on trauma. Like, if you're on a lower difficulty, you can probably get by just using a single weapon for most of the time. But if you are playing on trauma and you want to conserve health, it's probably best to switch weapons on the fly. Now, I'm taking this route now because, well, it's getting pretty hectic down there. I don't know how I survived the explosions there. Like, if you blow up anything in this game, there's going to be a chain reaction. Explosives are deadly to both you and the enemy. So, you want to be aware of explosives around you at all times, for your own safety and for the enemy's demise. Now, yeah, this is the first time I get hit, which is mainly because that zombie warlord came at me. I had to dodge back, and yeah, at this point I'm just like, whatever, and I just completely lost momentum. And this is where things start going wrong for me, and you're about to see the wrath of a zombie warlord in action, where I miss him, and yeah, these guys are absolutely deadly. And then I pull out the Painkiller, which uses its melee function to get rid of them. And yeah, the Painkiller is really good in a pinch if you really need it. And then he hits me with another cheap shot. Like, you can tell at this point I've just lost my momentum, and that can hurt sometimes. It really can. Like, you just think, I got hit, and then you just, it's hard to get back once you have gotten hit, because you haven't the momentum and that lot. So I back out and I bring out the Stakegun and the grenade launcher, which is pretty nifty for this section because there's tons of enemies. I didn't manage to hit all of them, but I did hit a lot of them, so it was a good shot. And I finally killed that guy. That guy hits me with a sneaky knife throw. And it's just the few zombie soldiers left, zombie warlords left, which I kill them with the barrels. Yeah, that pillar on the left, like that piece of wood on the left, is really annoying when you're trying to bunny hop, like, and you hit that. Like, it's caused some minor discomfort. You have to be very careful down here about what you're maneuvering around. So it can be risky to fight in the middle, but at the same time, like, it's probably best to go in the middle at first and wait while the enemies come, because there's a lot of those explosive enemies, those vamps as I like to call them, like the vamps who explode, or the giant vamps, whatever. And they can be pretty deadly, like when you're running straight into them, and it's better to just bring them all to this area and kill them, and then go back to the top, and then you're probably more better off doing that. And yeah, this next area, this enemy is invincible. You cannot kill this guy. He is literally invincible. So to beat him, you have to solve a puzzle. Now this might catch a lot of people out. It definitely caught me out. I had to look up a guide to beat this guy, but the way you beat him, and this is kind of tricky because sometimes this isn't the best. This doesn't actually work. And the thing about it is, you want to, and a lot of people won't mention this, but from experience, I've learned, I don't know why I shot that grenade, but I've learned to get rid of those wooden planks, because they really get in the way when you're trying to deal with this guy. Now, what you want to do is you want to get him into the light. That will kill him instantly. And I take a risky maneuver here. Yeah, you don't do anything to him. He's basically invincible. And yeah, you want to get rid of all the planks until it's got nothing left on it. If there's planks there, he won't be able to move onto it for some reason. But yeah, I jump off and he dies in the light. And that's the end of the level. It's a pretty cool level. I like the last bit where you've got all those skull things everywhere. Pretty cool, like all those like stone skeleton things. And I love how you jump down into the pit to finish the level as well. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.